I think people do sense that there is something more within them than they're fully able to embrace, that they don't really understand. Part of it, I think, is that they get glimpses of it throughout their life in various forums that they're in, from people, from places, from things that they experience. But there are no real tools that people can use or that they know that they can use to bring it together into one unified form that one could then define as the meaning of my life or the answer to who I really am inside. Bootcamp and Beyond is a way of bringing a piece into my work that has never been there before. And one of the things that's been missing over the years is that there's another whole dimension to who we are that's outside the realm of our emotional life and our spiritual life. It's not the soul level, but it's the physical level. And in order to experience what we want to experience in life and really get to the place that we're living a life aligned, we've got to be looking at not only the mind and our soul, but also our physical self, and bringing that on board with everything that we want to create. Joseph Garcia and I came together, he as a fitness trainer and me as a psychologist turned life coach, life guide, someone who practices law of attraction, to meet a need that we saw really was not being met largely in the work that's being done around us. The need is to include the physical dimension for people who are working very hard to make emotional and spiritual changes in their lives, and also to include the spiritual and emotional dimensions for people that are working very hard to create physical changes in their lives. I had clients that were working very hard to make grand changes in their lives using law of attraction, and they were actually being very successful, but their physical bodies were not always progressing or evolving at the same speed as the rest of them. And when that began to happen, sometimes there'd be a breakdown. The person their progress would start to slow. They would sort of be feeling physically bad on a given day, so it was very difficult to have a positive outlook that day and continue to attract the things into their lives that they were working so hard to attract. So we joined forces to offer people a complete package where they could address all the dimensions and be able to live their life in a way that each piece of them would support the other pieces.
Mark and I get along really well. He sees the emotional and mental aspect of it, and I see the physical aspect. When I was young, in my early 20s, I was hurt. I've always been into fitness, and when it was taken away from me, I knew what it did to me emotionally and physically.
Somehow it seems that if people can make a giant step physically, that they can do anything. That the physical body is the hardest thing to change because of genetics and everything else that people tell us determine ahead of time what we can and cannot have. Once they begin to see those changes, they feel differently, they begin to think differently, and all of that plays out to change the reality that they have every day in their world.
If they want to come in and do something with toning, firming, losing weight, building muscle, building core, working on flexibility, those are the first things I listen to, and then from there I critique what exactly needs to be done with my clients or in boot camp. Boot camp's constantly changing. I'm trying to make it better, different, harder, sometimes a little easier. It all depends.
One can really be the master of your destiny. It's not a matter of what the doctors say. It's not a matter of what your physical condition is. And there's a lot of research that supports that. There's research in physiological psychology that shows that as people begin to shift their thinking, their body chemistry literally begins to shift as well. And if you can sustain that shift in thinking long enough, the changes in your body can take hold and become permanent.
Of everything is possible if you just believe in it. I think like miracles, we don't actually see how they take place, but they do take place. So same thing here. It's just, you just know in your heart that this is the right direction. Mark and I both want to go with what we believe in, and nothing comes easy. And if you want something bad enough, you'll work really hard at it, and in working hard at it, you'll reap the benefits of it.
It doesn't really matter how much you understand about what's going on. It doesn't matter how much you understand about what you shifted. What matters is that things around you are changing. What we're showing people with Boot Camp and Beyond is that we're also able to create the same experience on a physical level. And that physical level is no different from the thinking and from the spiritual level and any other aspect of our being. That we can create the physical health that we want by shifting our mindset about what's possible for us to achieve. And Boot Camp and Beyond is a systematic way of helping people understand that by making the connection between the mind and the body and the soul.